My name is Captain Martin Becher. I was already a familiar face at the Liverpool races, and one there on my most trusted of companions, Vivian. William Lynn discussed with me the prospects of bringing a cross-country race to the surrounding fields which could rival the Great Chase at St Albans. My first experience of the new Aintree course was on the Duke in 1836. He was owned and trained by William Surtfield, and together we won the first ever running of the Grand Liverpool steeplechase. The course was laid across various farmers' fields and was run through plough, grass and wheat. We started close to the grandstands which afforded the spectators an excellent view. We galloped down to the first fence, which was in the form of a sunken lane. We had to jump a fence and hedge, down into the lane, then having taken a few strides to cross the road, we would jump out once more over a similar fence and hedge. Many of the early runners struggled with this obstacle and, after the first few years, the start was moved to the landing side to allow this jump to be taken only on the second circuit. Today you know this area as the Melling Road. The second fence was a small bank between two fields, topped with a small hedge. This was followed by fence 3, which was a simple wooden boundary fence. Next we came to a large ditch in front of a larger bank and hedge. Runners had to stretch to clear this tricky test. Another small bank was taken before the sixth fence approached. This was a hedge and fence before a natural, wide brook. Known then as Brook Number 1, I had the unhappy honor of having this brook named after me, when I fell from my Mount Conrad and landed in the water in 1839. I recall commenting that I had not realized water would taste so foul without the benefit of whiskey. Now we were heading towards the canal, and jumped a hedge, before we faced a wooden fence, after which the runners had to turn at 90 degrees to continue along the canal side. We then took Brook Number 2, which was similar in design to the first. In later years this fence would be named after an errant Irish horse named Valentine. Soon we reached the third brook, this time one which was created artificially by allowing the canal to flood a ditch in front of a fence and hedge. Another bank and hedge was cleared before we faced the other end of the lane. The road was not sunken at this point and was raised above the level of the fields on either side. Runners jumped onto the road and then off into the lower fields once more. Now we galloped across the training ground with the grandstands in sight for the first time. Before passing the stands, 2 small hurdles were taken, before we set off to jump all the obstacles again. In later years, the Aintree Committee replaced the hurdles with a stone wall, which did not prove popular amongst riders, and did not survive the course of history. This was first replaced by a hurdle topped with gorse, and then with a ditch and fence that became today's chair. With both circuits completed, the race was on, to reach the final 2 hurdles and rush past the stands to grand national glory. Much has changed since 1836, but I am sure the winners of today feel just as pleased as I did when winning the very first race all those years ago.